In this video, I just wanted to talk about characters that I think could have done a little more or were a bit wasted in potential. Because in Jojo, I love so many of these characters. Like, there's so many characters that I'm just like, wow, that character is cool. I wish they did a little bit more, you know? Now, that's not, oh, wow, no characters do anything, like, or this character didn't do enough. Like, I'm not trying to bash the author, Araki, because he didn't make some characters. I'm not trying to bash him or nothing. I'm just saying, you know, it would have been kind of cool to see some of these other characters do a little more. But this is nothing against what he did with his manga. It's his manga. He can do whatever he wants with it, you know. I'm not gonna be like, hey, you do this. Like, he already makes it really good. You know, he already does amazing things with this manga. So I'm not gonna trash him because he clearly knows what he's doing, and I'm just some random dude on the internet just like, hey bro, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, come on now. But I just want to talk about some characters that I felt were a bit wasted in potential, but you could argue maybe they weren't wasted, maybe they just could have done more. But I just want to talk about, I'm gonna go through each part, and I'm only gonna focus on the good guys, and like more so good guys, maybe like dudes who were turned good kind of thing in this video, not like any bad guys or like antagonists or people who are like stand of the week kind of thing. I'm only gonna focus on the protagonists and the good guys more so. So in part one, you know, I could say like Stardust is not wasted. I think he did fulfill a really clean purpose, but maybe like Tom Petty or Dyer kind of just came and died. Now you can't argue, well, that was the point, you know, Dio was supposed to show his all power, his almighty, his all powerful, you know, new vampire powers or whatever. But I feel like maybe they just could have done a little more with Dyer or Tom Petty instead of just like them dying or whatever. Stardust got his little thing, but like Dyer just kind of had one cool moment and that was it. Also, is it just me or does Dyer look a lot like Polnareff? But that's just me, because Phantom Blood already didn't have two, like it was a bit short and didn't have too many characters like that. Some people can argue Zeppeli was a little bit wasted, but I don't think he was wasted. Not to me. Speedwagon wasn't really wasted. Like, a lot of these characters didn't feel wasted because there was not too many like different characters in general. You know, there wasn't too many crazy characters. So I'm not gonna be like, oh well, that's wasted potential. Like, nah, there wasn't too many to begin with. So after part one is part two. Part two, there's not too many characters in this part two that I felt were wasted because one, the group was not super big, and I would say Santana, but he's more of an antagonist. We're only focusing on protagonists. Same thing with Stardust. Stardust was like kind of a weird thing, so we're not gonna count him. But I guess with part two's battle tendency, I think Stroheim wasn't wasted, and a lot of people can argue Caesar maybe was wasted, but I don't think he was wasted either because he was really cool, and I think he did quite a bit. Maybe not in fights per se, but his death was cool, like his powers were cool, him training with Joseph was cool. I thought all that was really nice, but maybe Machina and Loggins didn't do much. I think those are the two ones that are just like, wow, they really didn't do anything. They just trained Joseph and Caesar, you know, they trained them, made them really good, but they themselves did not do much. Loggins literally died. I'm pretty sure AC/DC killed him. So, and Machina, I think he lived, but he just didn't do much. He really didn't do much. I think he got dragged into like the mansion by Wamu, I think, but he lived, but he didn't do much. So that's who I think part two has, because part two, like Lisa, like all these other characters did do quite a bit. I can get into like villains another video, but with the heroes and like good guys, they didn't really have too many people. So after part two is part three, Stardust Crusaders. There's just like, I love Stardust Crusaders, and I love the part, and I love all the characters. This is probably one of my favorite groups, probably my favorite group in Jojo. But it's just like, man, some of these characters did literally nothing. Like, literally nothing. Like, Kakyoin, like, I think Kakyoin did do more than people give him credit for. I'm not, gonna be, I've talked about Kakyoin so much, so I'm not gonna get too much into him, but I think he did do a lot. I did make a video on Kakyoin and what he did, and I do go into Jojo duos, because I consider him the duo for the Jojo, main Jojo, Jotaro. So, I do think he wasn't necessarily wasted. Polnareff wasn't wasted. I don't think Joseph Joestar was wasted. Iggy, maybe. You can maybe get on Iggy, but mostly you're going to be talking about Avdol this one. I think Avdol was definitely kind of wasted. Avdol had... I just felt like he just didn't do as much as what... Because his stand was dumb strong, and Avdol was definitely competent with his stand. I'm not going to sleep on Avdol. Like, he had a lot of cool powers, a lot of cool different abilities, and his character was cool in general. But, one, he had his little fake death, which I thought was like, why did you fake that then? Why didn't you just kill him off? 2, I think Avdol is a perfect balance between serious and, like, actually jokey. Like, Joseph and Polnareff are more jokey, Kakyoin and Jotaro are more serious. Funny enough, the younger ones are more serious, but Avdol was the balance in between, so when you killed them off, it was just like, dang. No, there's no more balance, But Avdol just didn't do much, and I really hate that, man. I wish he did more. Because Polnareff had some cool fights, Kakyoin did. Avdol had, like, I remember he got Jotaro out of cell, he fought Polnareff, and then that's all I remember him really doing in fights. I remember him coming back to life with Polnareff or whatever, but that was about it. Everything else was just like, he just kind of didn't do much. He was just kind of in the background going like, yo, and just yelling, But I really wish he did more, because I think Avdol has a really cool stand. I know in the OVA they made him look really dope, but he just didn't do much, So in part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, there's definitely quite a few characters I can name, but like Shigeshi, like, nah, I'm not gonna say Shigeshi, because Shigeshi, I felt like I don't think he was that crazy to begin with. Okuyasu, I think, did do a little bit. I wouldn't say he's wasted. Like, there's not too many characters. 2 characters that do, maybe 3. Yukigo I wouldn't count, because I think she fulfilled her purpose. Yu Fungami did more than what he did, so I'm not going to say him. But the Alien and Hazamada, I feel like those 2 could have been, like, maybe a little cooler. Maybe not the Alien, but I feel like Hazamada was a bit of a bruh when it comes to that. Maybe even Keicho, but those guys just didn't do much, I feel like Hazamada could have been a lot cooler, but he wasn't. And Keicho just kind of died early. But there's not too many wasted people in Diamond is Unbreakable, because Diamond is Unbreakable is more like a world building kind of thing. Like, it's a small town with all these people that you run into, and they're still around. You see them from time to time. Like, I think that's just more the point of the manga, that all these characters and they're not going to do much for the main cast, at least. So that's just like a weird, like, iffy thing with Diamond is Unbreakable. But Golden Wind, this definitely is going to come off as cliche, and of course you're going to pick this character, but Fugo, for sure. Fugo, I felt like, was wasted. I know the author was going through some, like, personal problems, and something with his, like, friend, about something like that, and Fugo might have got, like a spin-off manga, but I'm not sure. But I think Fugo was definitely wasted, and they could have done something cool. Even turning him into an antagonist would have been like, man, then I can't really say he was wasted, because it would have been a really dope fight, because, his stand was already terrifying. Fugo was an incredibly smart person, and they would have had interesting and intriguing dialogue going back and forth about how he betrayed them or whatever. So, and I understand he was going through personal problems maybe, but I still am going to stick with my thing of, yeah, he was a bit wasted. To me, at least. But Fugo could have been a really dope thing, but it's alright. We only saw his stand once, like, actually come out, which I guess could be like, oh, they're building suspense. He's already crazy. Like, they want to make his stand out to be scary. But it's like, we didn't even get to see him fight, we didn't get to do him see. He just gave up, kinda, so. I guess you can say, oh, it's realistic. Someone had to give up, at least one person, but it would have been cool to see him at least come back to fight them or something, but it's whatever, it's okay. After Golden Wind is Stone Ocean. Stone Ocean is, I wouldn't say there's really too many, like, bad parts of, like, or, like, wasted characters in Stone Ocean. Like, I wouldn't say Hermes was wasted. Hermes was gone for a little bit, but not too long. I think people over-exaggerate how long she was actually gone. But Emporio wasn't wasted, Weather Report wasn't, like, all these people just weren't wasted, really, to me. Even Jojo did a lot in this part, but one character I think could be argued for wasted potential is Foo Fighters. I think Foo Fighters had a really cool concept and did a little bit at the beginning, but just was killed off too soon, maybe. That's what I think, at least. I guess you can argue, like, hey, like, maybe that was the point. Someone had to die to show off how scary Poochie was or whatever, but it's just like, man, like, Foo Fighters, like, come on, man, that would have been so dope. You know, I already like seeing Weather Report work with Foo Fighters because they're water or whatever. That would have been dope, but I just wish Foo Fighters did a little more, to me at least. That's the only wasted person I can think of in part 6 at least, because there wasn't really too many, like, wasted potential, you know, people who were part of the main group in part 6, but that's the only thing that I can think of. Part 7 is like, man, like, I cannot really think of too many wasted people in part 7. I think a lot of people did what they should have done, but some people who come to mind is Mountain Tim. I think Mountain Tim kind of died off dumb quick, and we only got to see him work with Gyro and Johnny once, and maybe that's the point. Maybe this is the only Gyro Johnny thing. It's for them, it's a duo kind of thing, but I would have liked to see Mountain Tim do a little more. Maybe Weka Pipo, I just feel like Weka Pipo, I wouldn't say he's wasted. No, he's not wasted. He was a cool character too, but I wouldn't say he's wasted. Mountain Tim, I feel like, was a tiny bit wasted. And Hot Pants, I feel like, could have done a little more too. But that was about it for part 7. Like, the other characters are, like, this part is mostly filled with, like, bad guys more. Or, like, people who are, like, not bad guys, more like maybe in the middle. Because some of these people are not bad guys, they're just trying to win. They're trying to make it in life, you know. So I would say, like, yeah, part 7 doesn't have too many, but if I had to choose, probably Mountain Tim, probably. You know, that's my guess. And for part 8, you guys let me know in the comments down below who you think is wasted potential in part 8. And if there is none, at least just give me some good guess of what you think is a good person to fill that role of maybe wasted potential, because maybe it doesn't have any wasted people, but just give me something to feast on. But that's gonna be for this video, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Peace.